It is to say, don't expect today's giants to succeed, and more importantly, don't believe that they need to fail. The first is the simplest way, which is to understand, as I mentioned earlier, the metaverse is fundamentally a belief that more of our time, our labor, our leisure, our spend, our wealth, our socializing, our happiness and friendships will exist in virtual worlds. The second way to think about the metaverse is under the technical definition. Take a look at the internet definition, a network of networks using the TCP/IP internet suite. You'll notice that that's a definition that is accurate, but does not clearly explain what the internet is. And that's because the heart of a technological change is the experiences that are produced. However, I'll provide a definition that I like to use. The metaverse is a massively scaled, interoperable network of persistent, real-time rendered 3D virtual worlds, which support continuity of data such as identity, history, entitlements, objects and communications and payments, and can be experienced synchronously by an effectively unlimited number of users. The atom is the 3D virtual world. 3D rendering enables that to be a live world, a responsive world. And then lastly, the unlimited number of users is critical to understanding the evolution of human culture to the metaverse. Right now, virtual spaces are like saying a movie theater can only have 20 people, a concert can only have 50 people, a political event or soccer match can only have 50 people. The ability to increase the number of people who can synchronously participate in a virtual space is critical to our ability to shift society into virtual spaces at large. One of the hardest challenges today is really the democratization of underlying technologies. The success of the Unreal Engine or Unity means that the cost, speed, ease involved in producing anything in the virtual world has gone down. And in fact, you can not only benefit from those attributes, but you can make better games than ever before. 5 years ago, very few games on Earth used anything like a season pass. And yet as soon as the season pass primitive, much like the battle royale primitive in PUBG, ends up being rapidly adopted across the universe. Last fall in 2020, they came out with NBA Top Shots. NBA Top Shots was an astonishing success. And as we can all tell a year later, the number of companies who have built comparable ecosystems are manifold. The speed with which innovations are now adopted in the marketplace is astonishing. And what that means is it's easy to overestimate an early advantage. It's easy to overestimate even network effects, and it's easy to underestimate the collective potential of the ever-moving tech ecosystem around it. When we went back 10 years ago, we typically saw that it took 3 to 4 years to try and go after a market leader, and then success rates were not as high. But today, everyone understands the pace of change is faster than ever before, and the democratization of tools has never been greater. It is to say, don't expect today's giants to succeed, and more importantly, don't believe that they need to fail. That's critical. This is not a simple upgrade to the internet. It is in many ways a fundamental overhaul of how internet traffic is transmitted, how data is interpreted, where users go, and to a lesser extent, which users go there. Generational change is one of the most important. In fact, the history of technology is usually that when an augmentation to compute or internet availability comes in line, it's an opportunity for a new company to not worry about a large technology company. Their biggest challenge is their current business, and the even greater challenge is their current business thinking. They grew up on different devices, limited by different technology, and their current users like their current product. Founders who focus on what tomorrow might be and what tomorrow's users might do will succeed in the end. The most important thing is to look beyond the technology. When we take a look at the challenges that the biggest technology companies have historically had, it is about bringing a soul or creative spirit to technology, to these virtual spaces. The best example in the world is Roblox. Roblox is today quite technically proficient, But the truth of the matter is it still falls nowhere near the graphical horsepower of the average Xbox game, certainly what's possible on Amazon's Luna cloud game streaming service. But what matters is the heart, the spirit, the fact that your friends are there. Creative, I'm very happy to say, always matters most. When you're asking how we constructed it, my first step was to assemble a council of experts. On my team, I have the former head of content and developer relationships at Oculus, former head of Valve Steam platform, the co-executive producer and lead game designer of Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption, the former head of NVIDIA's enterprise cloud streaming platform who launched instant applications and cloud streaming for AWS, one of the world's leading cryptocurrencies investors, runs one of the largest crypto-specific funds, as well as the CEO and founder of Genvid Technologies, a pioneer in cloud-based rendered virtual worlds, and former head of worldwide business development for Square Enix. This council has diverse expertise that understands every element of the metaverse, not just what it can be, but what it requires to thrive. We then came out with a technical basis to understand 7 constituent categories, and then mapped their share of revenues. One thing that you'll note is in the 1990s, as an example, almost all revenue on the internet was for hardware and connectivity. Content companies, Spotify, Netflix, even Naver, emerged much later. And so not only did the internet mature and the size of its value or its economy grow, but the allocation of revenues and profits changed. And so we came up with a methodology to map exactly that, using a global framework. One of the things that's always interesting when I talk to my friends and peers and fellow metaverse theorists in South Korea is, of course, there are numerous companies in South Korea that are outstanding and relevant to the metaverse. We built an index designed for the global metaverse.